Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Bog Panda. We're back to talking about 3D printing and retro gaming tonight. I'm Kelly at KELLYTHUL on social media. And with me, as always,
I am Dr. Mike at Official Pagan on everything. And also, I need to work in officially trained to drive a tank now. So that's, got to be worked into the title somewhere. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, leave comments about how awesome it is that I drove a tank. And you're going to want to do that when you look down at the keyboard. You're going to want to see that Bog Panda logo looking back up at you from your t shirt. So make sure you hit the merch store. And you know what? Just as a special gift to you guys for leaving those comments, liking, and subscribing, we're going to give you the world's shortest podcast absolutely free. Hard no. It's available right here, free with your free subscription.
I have nothing to add. Covered it all very well. Um,
It's that
so,
tank training.
yeah, and I assume I have your clearance to publish a few of the pictures in this video of you in the tank.
Absolutely. We might have to blur out one of the faces in there, but yes,
Yep, I'll put a Bog Panda logo over the other
perfect.
passenger. Because they're in witness protection. It's a long story, but we'll take care of them. So I get that. But so we've talked 3D printing before on a case that I did for Mike for his C64. The various at games legends goodies that I've done, a shelf that you could use to hold a bar for your light gun, which I've also done a very printer-friendly version of a holster that you can attach to the side for the gun that's not going to use a huge amount of filament for that. And a couple other goodies that we've come across, joystick restrictors and all that kind of good stuff. So 3D printing stuff is cool and does have a place in retro gaming. Mike came across a incredibly cool video that was talking about that. In that video and its description, it provided links to at least two creators who are putting out a lot of either well done 3D models that might need a little bit of work before they're 3D printer ready, and another one that's got basically 3D printer ready models for you. So we'll include those links as well so you can check it out as we kind of talk through a number of things. But um, the core of the video that Mike shared with me was about rehabbing a Sega Nomad. So it looked to me like a Jaguar controller mated with a Game Boy, and this thing came out. Um, so I guess starting off, what's your Sega Nomad familiarity, Mike?
Pretty high,
Oh,
actually.
really?
Yeah, so I don't have the Sega Nomad that came out, but there was a aftermarket version that was done by a third party with an official Sega license, though, that came out after the fact, and I do have that one. So I do have sort of a Nomad. I forget what they called it, but it is a Nomad. It was just manufactured by another company. This is when Sega started licensing their name out to At Games and different things. It wasn't At Games, that was another company that did a run of Sega Nomads under some other name. So I do technically have one.
The Bedouin, maybe?
Yeah. I don't remember. It's cumbersome is the problem. So it's a handheld system, but uses actual like Genesis or Mega Drive for our outside the US friends, cartridges in it, which of course are as big as most handhelds are, or slightly, less than what a handheld is. So it just makes it big and cumbersome.
Yeah, so I think I'd seen it in a couple videos or so, kind of as a throwaway mention, but I hadn't really kind of seen it up close and personal. But this video, you get a chance to become very familiar with the inside and outside of a Sega Nomad. And he picked up a beat up one on eBay and was rehabbing it. It was largely the point of this video was all the cool 3D printing stuff you can do. And so he got a clear case for the Nomad, which what came in was looking pretty sad. His final product looked outstanding, looked great. Probably still cumbersome, but at least it's a good looking cumbersome, so that's good. But but it was like a crystal clear case. And so um, just a little bit of 3D printing backstory for you folks. Um, uh, Fused deposition modeling, or FDM, is one type, and then another one is SLA, or stereolithography. FDM is what I use. It's the printers are the least expensive to get. You can get a good size printer cheaper than anything that does SLA, but it's the one that uses filament. It's got a big spool of plastic that threads into a nozzle that you take a 3D model, you bring it into something called a slicer to create the different layers, and it just prints layer after layer after layer. But it's laying down that plastic as it runs through the nozzle and melts, and so it kind of creates layers that way. SLA, you still get a 3D model, you still slice it, but instead of this kind of physical uh, nozzle being moved kind of across an X and a Y and a Z axis to print the layers, it's a light source that is going into it's you basically will have like a vat of material, and it will go in and it activates. So it basically is doing the layers, but it's a light activated layer that does it. And with that, you can get something that is basically crystal clear. You get a lot of really good detail, but you can get something like the example in this video we watched, where the ending case is see-through completely, and a very hard plastic, but clear as well. And so the example he's given on that was good. So I wouldn't be able to recreate what he did for a variety of reasons. But if it was a colored one, doing on a black one or an orange or red, I could do it. It still won't be as smooth and detailed. FDM is great to um, do a ton of stuff with, but SLA you get a lot more detail. But typically, uh, you have a much smaller bed to work with, so you're not, the size of things you can print is pretty limited. So what do you think about the case? And did you enjoy my 101 on 3D printing?
So the 3D printing thing first, yes, absolutely. 3D printing is something that I've always been super interested in and fascinated in. I don't have a 3D printer myself. It is something that's on the list of things to get for the house at some point. So I'll be asking you even more questions when that time comes around for it. But it's something I'm really fascinated with, and particularly how it could potentially be applied to retro gaming, since we've started talking so much retro gaming on this channel. And we've even talked before about, 3D printing our own cases for, say, Raspberry Pi type thing to do our own builds for things like that. So seeing somebody do something like that, like that's very impressive. Watching him do it, I realized that I couldn't do a project like this, not just because of not having the printer availability, because as they point out in the video, there are different sites you can go to have this done. You just send them the files and they, pay whatever fee it is. Um, but when it comes to taking apart consoles and soldering things and stuff like that, you're over what I'm able to do at that point. That's not me. But, designing or having printed a really cool custom case for like a Raspberry Pi is definitely something I'm very, very interested in. So I do think this is a really cool project. It is outside of what I'm able to do. It's probably not even, we're not talking about something that's like some expert level kind of thing. Most half the people watching this video could probably do this. My level of ability on this kind of stuff is just extremely low. So when you get into soldering and things like that, I'm done. You've cut me out of it.
Yeah, that's pretty much the barrier for me too. That it's like, I give it a shot, but the odds are slim that things are going to turn out well. So, but it's a cool video. We will include a link to it as well, obviously, and kind of see the build. The end result, fantastic looking. The sites, I think, are the big thing though. There's a couple of folks out there that are doing some really, really great stuff. One of the sites has just a huge number of different cases for different platforms, big platforms, small platforms, all over. One of the other sites is just a lot more maybe comprehensive in terms of all kinds of different things you might need that are like sometimes interior gears or things that will tend to wear out. There seems to be just a pretty huge selection out there. Battery covers, all kinds of good stuff like that that may have gotten lost over time or broken, and they're good sites to check out. And we'll include a link to the very small offerings that we have here, that we have provided to you here at Bach Panda, of a couple decent retro gaming accessories, kind of biased towards the Act Games legend. So excellent. Well, anything else you'd like to add for the show, sir?
No, I mean, I do think at some point we need an official Bog Panda Raspberry Pi case for people to add their totally legal ROMs to.
Yeah, we can even put a little label on it, totally legal ROM slot. You know, so, yeah, I think that is definitely something we can do. I'll talk to you offline, a few ideas on that. So, all right, folks, we'll be back again. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, everybody.
Bog Panda.